Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's session and happy International Youth Day. So at this juncture, I'd like to introduce Invest in Africa and who we are and what we do. So Invest in Africa is a private sector initiative, and we work with different stakeholders to ensure that we support small and medium enterprises. So our purpose for existing is just to prosper African economies. And we do this through the three initiatives that we have, and that is access to skills, access to markets, and access to finance. And so through the access to skills pillars, this is where we do capacity building. We have online masterclasses and different kinds of sessions that we run just to ensure that SMEs are empowered and they have the right knowledge to help their businesses grow. And then through our access to markets pillar, we do have our Biashara.now platform, which also enables B2B linkages. And not just that, we also have in it an e-procurement platform where our SMEs can access tendering opportunities from our buyers. And so also through the access to finance, we link our SMEs to financial organizations. And currently we are running a program called Investor Readiness with one of our implementing partners. And it's just to ensure that our SMEs are equipped and they become investor ready when the finances arise. So that is what we do through our three initiatives. We believe that SMEs are the driving engines of our economies, and that is why we are doing this. And so we also have the COVID-19 Survival Toolkit, which was an initiative to support SMEs to build in back better. Just like Winston Churchill said, never let a good crisis go to waste. So we have our hub online, Biashara.now Academy. The links will be shared on the chat box as well. You can go there and get an experience of different toolkits that we have just to help you build in back better as an SME. So this is just a detail of what is in the virtual toolkit. So we have masterclasses, we have coaching, access to finance, we have the knowledge hub, and also the peer-to-peer mentorship sessions. So this brings us to the International Youth Day. So happy International Youth Day once again. And this year's theme is transforming food systems, youth innovation for human and planetary health. So our main focus this year is inclusivity. And so we want to ensure that the youth are engaged, they are understood, and therefore they are included, because a fact is that during down to Kenya, the youth make up 75% of Kenya's population, and we believe that they do have a part to play when it comes to improving the food systems. So even as we have this session today, our focus is just to ensure that the youth have the right information so that they understand exactly where they'll be plugging in a bid to solve the SDGs that we have. And basically SDG number 2 is on focus, which is zero hunger. And so even as we look towards improving food systems, there are different opportunities that the youth can leverage on in terms of production. It could be also in the post-harvest handling, distribution, and marketing of agricultural products. So we are having this conversation today, and we know that at the end of it all, you will be able to identify the opportunities that you can plug in as a young person. So the big question is, what opportunities can the youth through innovation leverage in the agricultural sector? So our objective for today is just to enlighten the youth on the opportunities they can leverage on in agriculture to transform food systems. Without further much ado, I'd like to welcome our facilitator for today, Dennis Okore. So Dennis is a communications and public policy profession professional with an interest in agriculture, technology, and innovation as drivers of trade and development in Africa. He's also an avid sorghum farmer. He's also a co-founder of Zaubora, an agri-tech solution, and also Ubunifu College, which is an edtech startup in Nairobi. He currently also consults with Sustainable Africa Innovators. So Dennis is a Rotarian and a member of the PRSK, the IRSK, and the PAC. And he also sits in the advisory boards of economic projects, transformation, EPTF. So he's a business mentor at NPAC. Over to you, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Lim. I'm excited to be here today and to be part of the International Youth Day, a very important day in the calendar for youths globally. And I thank Invest in Africa for putting together this masterclass as part of this event, which is marked globally. And more importantly, I'm happy to discuss on a matter that I am very passionate about, agriculture, and also in how it interfaces with technology. So it's a very exciting afternoon for me, and I'm happy to discuss this with people already doing it, and also looking forward to interact with the various people who are participating here today. My role today in facilitating this conversation, I'll be joined with some interesting people who are already doing agribusiness and also involved in agriculture at an individual level. So they will be helping me in demystifying and bringing this topic to light. So without much ado, I'll just starting off. I don't know if you'll be sharing from your side or I have powers to share there from my side. So the topic ahead of us is quite interesting in view of the theme of this year's International Youth Day, which is about inclusivity in the food production and how this inclusivity can drive food production, and as Lim had said, solving the problem of food globally towards creating sustainable populations through access of food. But more importantly, looking at the interface of how youth can be innovative to be able to do this. So that will form the centerpiece of our conversation today. And I'll be leading that conversation along those lines. So I'll be joined with by four individuals. I'll be joined with Elizabeth Okulo, whom I'll be introducing later. She's doing some farming and applying innovation using the hydroponics technology. Michael Machora, who is in the apiculture and using technology also to support farmers to be able to manage their beehives. Machel Nyagilo, who is a value addition expert and also passionate about technology, and more importantly, looking at how that also touches on aspects of climate change and looking at things like climate smart agriculture. Then we have Elisha Batuti, also who is an agricultural technologist who is also an innovator, but more importantly is passionate about catalyzing opportunities for youth in agribusiness through associations, and more importantly, answering the question of how youths can participate in issues of policy making. So just to give an introduction on why International Youth Day thought about this, the whole world is transforming, and there is a need for every sector. This is forced by our situations externally, but also there is a push because of other changes that are happening. So we have to really rethink about how we are producing food. And this is the place where innovation comes in, and transformation is very important because as the world looks into this globally, we in Africa and particularly in Kenya are facing a challenge because we are experiencing exponential population, which these populations will need food. So the place for youth innovation is very important, and there needs to be inclusive mechanisms, and this touches on enabling policy environments, very stable and functioning markets, as well as embracing technology, because the world is also changing technologically. And all this is linked to the Sustainable Development Goals, which is pushed by the Vision 2030. And there's a lot of linkages in terms of providing sustainable livelihoods, environmental conservation, and also climate action towards adopting actions which can be able to produce food with the change in the climate. And this forum particularly served as a forum for education, engagement, and also catalyzing innovations and also entrepreneurial solutions. And this goes even beyond this forum that we're in today. And I think one of the issues why we're exchanging information is so that you can be able out of this to make some linkage, and that is in line with what Invest in Africa does. So today, the Invest in Africa and our partners really wanted to have a platform where we can take these conversations to the next level as part of the International Youth Day 2021. So I'll go direct and just look at the issue of innovation in agriculture. There are some words that normally come when we're talking about innovation, and one of them has been the issue of there's a revolution that is happening. We are kickstarting, we are catalyzing, and such kind of terminology. They are always very synonymous when we're talking about technology and its role. And I'm sure all of us have come across this word. But more importantly, today our focus, we are looking at agri-tech and asking ourselves the question on how is this, what is it exactly? And I will introduce to you some 3 words, that is digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation, which is mostly what is our focus today. And I'm just doing this so that to set pace, because I'll tell you that in the course of this conversation, I will be inviting some of very great, amazing guys who are with us today, who will be sharing their stories, how to do it, just to inspire us so that we can borrow from some of those things that they're doing that are already working. And more importantly, in our world today, they say that data has become like the oil. So there's a big move as part of this transformation of digitizing, more conscious efforts towards data. And this digitalization, which is mostly a digital technology enabled process so that that data is utilized. Then when this data is utilized and it is informing business activities, it is informing our way of life, that is how transformation really happens. And the whole world is changing. The way we offer education, the way we do things in the office, the way we do things at home, it is changing. And this is being redefined by technology. So agri-tech basically is looking at how technology is being employed in agricultural practices. And this is transforming how new businesses are being done, changing how existing businesses are doing their business. And you've seen businesses either pivoting or repurposing their businesses so that they continue being relevant. One of the challenging definitions that I've normally come to see is that if you meet many young people, they say, oh, I'm in agribusiness, I'm in agribusiness. But you might be saying that, but you're just farming your vegetables there, but you're not really putting it into the market. And I think that is one of the things that we really need to think, so that we are optimizing our production for consumption, but also for the market, but also looking at how we are doing that in quality and in the right quantity. So that's how we'll be able to bring up that transformation. So I want you to remember that word digital transformation, because it forms parts and parcel of what we will be discussing here. And I will ask, there's someone raising their hand, Patrick Njuguna. I'll suggest you drop at this moment, maybe on the chat, then we'll pick it up because we'll open up the session. So this conversation about digital transformation is very important, because I've met people who are saying, oh, this is happening, it's still far away in Europe, or it's happening in Nairobi, me, I'm in Busia, or it's happening in Kitale, I'm in West Pokot. But this is something that is happening with us. Yesterday, there's an organization called Dalberg. They released a report in terms of the digital economy. You can download this and read it. I'll really encourage you. I've put there the website. And I just grabbed some screenshots from it just to give us a context in our conversation today. And one of the things they were saying, you can see those statistics there. So there's one statistic I got from Microsoft, which was saying that in the last 2 years, the need for adopting agri-tech solutions has increased by 44%. That is quite huge. Now, coming back home to Kenya, in terms of access to digital devices and services, 84% of Kenya, according to the Dalberg research that was released yesterday, have adopted technology to that level. Coming back to e-commerce, that is at 13%. But if you look at how many Kenyans can use mobile money, it's about 94%. That is quite huge. And 52% of Kenyans own a smartphone. So you can really flash back. Most of us in this session may think that everyone has a smartphone, but there's a time smartphone was a very big prestige in this country. So this is just to give us a context. And why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this so that to challenge you to know that this is where you should be, because everything is going towards this digital way. So I wanted just to also to create a context in terms of when we're talking of agri-tech and we're talking about this digital transformation, what are some of the technologies that are redefining how farming is being done? So I'll just make a quick run through of them. The first one is about cloud technology and mention about data. There's a lot of focus right now in adopting this technology so that there is secure storage, but also this also enables collaboration between private sector, SMEs, governments, NGOs, and all that because of the cloud capabilities. And also this is very important, especially in view of rising issues of cybersecurity, which also affects our sector in agriculture. There is a blockchain, which is also very interesting because one thing about blockchain, it gives us visibility of what the other person is doing. So the best way to explain this is normally think of your chama where everyone wants to know who withdrew, who deposited money, and all that kind of thing. And this also enables other functionalities where we now have even currencies that have come there that are even redefining how payments are done. And these things are already being used, and they're already also impacting how agriculture is done. There's a drone technologies and precision agriculture where drones are able to be sent to be able to deliver or to undertake certain activities in the farm where previously man was supposed to go there. There is also the aspect of big data, being able to collect a lot of data, and this so that it can generate insights that can give farmers and policymakers, it can give the better understanding of the practices to be employed and even how the markets look like. So that is also another trend that is informing agri-tech. The other one is the development of digital apps and platforms where they're supporting farmers to be able to access market easily and to be able to trade. And even with that environment, also grow ecosystems. At a later stage, someone will be telling us about our associations and cooperatives and working that, and I think that will be also interesting. And also there is the artificial intelligence, or what we commonly call AI, where there is an increased practice around precision agriculture, where you can be able to target specific things to a plant, to a crop, to a farm, and all that kind of thing. And more importantly, bringing predictability, because one of the things where farmers are not able to produce optimally is because they can't predict weather, they can't predict market, they can't predict many things. So this is also bringing a lot of dynamism and transformation on how agriculture is happening. Then all this also has linkages to the Internet of Things, which basically is a combination of gadgets which are creating an ecosystem to deliver certain technological efficiencies by combining the capabilities of these data who are now collecting information, giving feedback and all that. And in the course of this afternoon, we'll be having a presentation of someone sharing with us on how they do that. So basically, that's just what this is all about. So I want to invite one of the participants. She's called Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a farmer. She's using hydroponics technology to produce. She's the founder of AfriFood, and she works with farmers to be able to develop this technology. And she'll be telling us how you can optimize your space and what does this mean and what do they want to achieve. Her profile is there. I won't get into reading it, but I'll just hand over the microphone to her. Then she'll have some few minutes, then we'll proceed from there. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me in this particular platform. I'm really honored to share our innovation at AfriFoodie. Yes, so actually the first time, something that I really need to be honest with you, the first time I heard about hydroponic technology was when I was in campus in 2016 during one of our lectures by Mr. Mawira, when he said that, people are growing crops without using soil. So that term was so new to us, and we were wondering, we were shocked, how can people grow food without soil? So I want us to continue this conversation about hydroponic technology. Feel free to put on the chat and tell me, when was the first time that you heard about hydroponic technology? And so right now at AfriFoodie, I am co-founder of AfriFoodie, and AfriFoodie is an agri-tech company that is empowering people to grow their own food through hydroponic technology. At AfriFoodie, the problem that we are solving for is the inconsistent production of food, which is as a result of over-reliance on the small-scale farmers who have to rely on rain-fed agriculture in order to produce food. You see, there has been an increase in the rural to urban migration as such. The current population and the population to come cannot fit into, into the supply chain of the food. So we have like inconsistent production. Apart from that, we have like increase in food insecurities. And aside from that, there has been rise in the use of chemical pesticides, which is generally affecting the health of many people, because sometimes you consume vegetables and you are left wondering, is this vegetables harmful for me or not? Will it give me lifestyle diseases like cancers or even high blood pressure? And even through this inconsistency still across the value chain, we realize that there are times when the price fluctuates. Today you'll realize that the tomato goes at 100 Kenya shillings per kg, and then the next day you're being told it is being sold at 40 Kenya shillings per kg. And with this increasing fluctuation, we see a lot of majority of food coming into the country which is being imported during those seasons when we cannot find such kind of vegetables. So what are we doing at AfriFoodie to solve this particular problem? At AfriFoodie, our solution is an IoT-based hydroponic system that allows people to grow food from anywhere. with this technology, someone is able to save 90% of water, grow the crops twice as faster throughout the year without worrying about the changing weather patterns, as well as save you money in the long run and save you time, because it is a fully automated system, so you don't need to spend much time having to tend to the crops. For that result, the value proposition that we are offering to people is high quality product that is adaptive, with adaptive designs that offer a unique way of solving a problem, and it is easy to use because the whole system has been put into you. You just get all the directives through the guidebook that we give you. So this offers a lot of convenience because you won't be worried about touching dirty stuff to get to get the crops that you love. And so what we do in order to make money as a business is we create those hydroponic system. We design them depending on the needs of the customers, depending on the space that the customers have. So some of the designs that we have are customized for someone who wants to do farming on the rooftop, someone who wants to do farming on their kitchen, or on their balcony. And another way in which we are making money is through consultancy services. So we offer consultancy services to farmers and also to individuals who are practicing hydroponic farming. And then the last one, we are training people because we want everyone to join into hydroponic farming so that you can be able to farm anywhere, whenever you want.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So just maybe for the interest of the participants, this hydroponic, are you the only one who is having it in Kenya, or where can someone start? Because one of the things that we're doing through this masterclass is really looking for practical solutions where we can be able to start. So you were inspired by your lecture, but how did you, where can I start? Because I know there's someone wondering here, how can I start, or where can I come and see what you are doing?
Okay, thank you very much. So actually, I was inspired by my teacher, but then I got trained by Miramar International College on hydroponic technology in 2018, and that kind of marked my first journey into the business. And right now, if anyone is interested in hydroponic farming and seeing some of these innovations, some of the systems, we are currently we are based in Thika, where we have like some little farms that we can show you in our office, just to show you the real time way of doing the production. And still in Kenya and across East Africa, we have various companies, various hydroponic companies, such as Grandeur Africa, Hydroponics Africa, Greenophonics, which are using this existing technology. So it might be a new concept, but it is already existing in the market.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth. So, and thanks for really sharing for us about how you are doing this. And we'll be getting back to you because she's still with us here. And what they are doing through AfriFood is an example of a technology that is really transforming how agriculture is being undertaken. And one of the things that hydroponics brings is it brings you to optimize the space that you're available, because as the population continue growing, we're also getting limited in terms of the plots that we can get for farming. And this technology can also be incorporated by other technologies, and you're able to undertake farming, as she has said, without soil. And it involves what I think, because of time, we will not get into the finer details, but I just wanted to really open your eyes today and really challenge you about this technology that is there, that it's something that you could really adapt. And this is something that is quite very, very interesting. The other person who is joining us today is from a very, very interesting type of farming, which is apiculture. Apiculture is dealing with the bee farmers. And I'll be welcoming Michelle Machora. Michelle Machora is a supply chain specialist, but he has passion for beekeeping and also protecting the environment while creating livelihoods. He's from a company called Kula Organic, and I'll just invite him to share with us how beekeeping is being undertaken using technology and how are they doing it. I'm seeing here they're saying there are more bees, more honey, and more money. So I hope we will also get this money or get the honey. I don't know which one is possible, but we are more interested also to hear how you're doing this and how it is for you. Welcome.
Thank you, Dennis. So good afternoon, everyone. Can you imagine having to check on your beehive without opening it? Yeah, I think it's something many of us cannot imagine to happen. That was my case around in 2018 when I founded Kula Organic. So Kula Organic is a apiculture startup that is trying to leverage on information technology solutions to help bee farmers adopt sustainable beekeeping practices. So over the past 2 years, I have been volunteering to work with teams of bee experts in Western Kenya, where we were visiting farmers in various regions and various counties there. And one problem that was very clear to me from the start is there's some farmer fragmentation, which is not very common in other commercial farming, such as tea. You know, they have some associations. So what I realized with beekeepers is these people are doing it on their own. There's no synchronization in terms of beekeeping, training, in terms of accessing the market. So I realized that is one of the problems that is with beekeeping in Kenya. Additionally, the fragmentation has resulted in lack of information, since you can find that one expert serves a certain network of farmers. So without that information from the expert, one cannot easily access these other types of farmers. These are or their location, you know. That's one limitation brought about the farmer fragmentation. Regarding the lack of information, I think we can all agree that you come across beekeeping information once in a while. It's not very common knowledge. Even bee farmers themselves, some of them don't even know how to manage their apiaries. They have to rely on bee experts to do that work for them. That is costly, since they have to pay for the time and expertise provided by the bee experts. So those are the common problems I've realized the bee farmers in Western Kenya are experiencing. So as Kula Organic, we have a number of solutions that we are promoting. One is we are developing a mobile application to facilitate information exchange between these interested parties in apiculture, that is the bee experts and the bee farmers. So I believe with the help of a mobile application, these bee experts can gather together information about their farmers, which can help them optimize their scheduling activities, as well as exchange critical information with the bee farmers. Also, with the mobile application, we can bridge the gap brought about by misinformation. You see, the mobile application can enable bee farmers to know which type of pests are common in their areas. Also, they can study the spread of pests, which can promote the adoption of better and sustainable beekeeping practices. So in all these architecture, the Internet of Things is the basis, whereby it's possible in the near future that a beehive can have a sensory kit attached to it, and that will enable a bee expert or a bee farmer to tell the progress and status of a honeybee colony remotely without having to visit an apiary. So in the long run, the adoption of this technology, big data analytics, and the Internet of Things can enable farmers to make timely decisions regarding their apiary management. Also, it will be less costly for the bee experts and the bee farmers to manage their apiaries. Also, additionally, the benefit of adoption of these technologies, over the past 6 months, we have processed honey from various farmers in Kisii and Nyamira counties, giving them a standardized way of assuring their quality. So with that, they are able to command a higher purchase price in the market. And I believe that is creating livelihoods for people in the rural areas. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, thank you very much for that insight. I'm very, very intrigued by what you have shared. For me, I'm very keen on how much or how many farmers are you working with currently?
So currently, you're working with around 50 farmers.
You're working with 50 farmers. That's quite interesting. So for a farmer who is doing beekeeping or wants to do beekeeping, how is he able to connect, or what are the advantages? I know you've already shared what you've already done in Kisii County and Nyamira County, but I'm in Kitale County, and I wanted to have a way where I can monitor my beehives when I'm in Nairobi. What can I do?
So what you can do is one solution is you can use our mobile application platform to get access to the nearest bee expert in your area. That's one of the way. Also, you can call us directly and we can try and link you with some government affiliated extension officers who can offer that service locally in your area.
So you mentioned Western Kenya, in Nyamira and Kisii County. What about the other counties? What are the plans that you have in terms of scaling this?
So we are planning to advertise and vigorously search for new potential customers in other counties such as Kisumu and towards Kakamega. So we are leveraging on our networks and affairs, the bee trainings that are conducted by other research institutions to get the word out so that we can get more potential customers.
Yeah, thank you. And just a last question, how does this connect to the issue about climate? Where is the interface? Because I think that features very prominently on your profile, but why are bees important for the climate?
So bees, they're responsible for almost 70% of the pollination activities. So without them, food will be scarce, and that's why it's very important to promote sustainable beekeeping practices. Also, if you remember, I said when we were visiting the farmers, it entailed a lot of movement from one point to the other. That is, you are using fuel-powered motorcycles. So with the adoption of IoT devices, I believe that there'll be fewer trips, and that will mean that there'll be less pollution. And global warming, we will be helping in lowering the global warming issue.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Machora and the team at Kula Organic. You're doing quite an amazing work.
Thank you.
We really appreciate and wish you all the best in your startup. I'm just seeing some interesting conversations that are coming up on the chat box. One of them, someone is saying that they've actually used hydroponics to grow fodder and vegetables in Kiambu County in Kikuyu. Lawrence, thank you for sharing that. I don't know if your farm is still active. I will be very much interested to visit your farm in Kikuyu. I'm also seeing a lot of requests for questions around funding on how farmers can be able to access credit to deploy this technology. We'll be having some sessions also with some of these innovators who have shared their stories with us, where we can now ask them other questions in the course of this forum today. And there are two issues that have come up from his presentation. One is about looking at how their farm activities are not only using technology, but solving a problem for big farmers, and they're able to create jobs because farmers are able to get better prices for their honey. One thing he did not tell us where to get the honey, but I know at some point we'll ask that question so that we can know where to get the honey in Nairobi, in Machakos, and those of us who are in West Pokot can also know where to get the honey. So that's very good. The other thing he mentioned is about the climate, the role of bees in terms of enriching the climate and ensuring that there is pollination. And for me, that is very, very important because as I have told you about the Agenda 2030, it really touches on the issue of sustainability and looking at how climate change is happening, and more importantly, what are the mitigation that we are putting in place. So I would like to invite another person. This is someone who is really passionate about climate change, value addition, and is also working with a lot of farmers across counties, and he's also very passionate about innovation. I'll be welcoming Marshall. Marshall, you, if you are there, you could take over the microphone.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marshall Nyagilo. I'm a consultant agronomist, and I'm also a farmer, a passionate farmer from having studied from JKU at BSc in horticulture. So, and another thing is that I managed to be part of the Masterclass Foundation program, whereby I was trained on hydroponics. Actually, Okulo and I shared the same classes. So basically, what I want to share with you today is really quite going to be like a starting point for youth on this platform. One, you look at value addition, climate change, and food security. Now, one thing I do know is that, and I've seen it practically on the ground, is a country is not really food secure, but without taking in consideration ecological conservation, which directly influences climate change. So we could be producing the food, and it's a lot in the market, but you find that like my panelists have said, for instance, he's talked about handling bees, availability of bees. Bees fall in ecological conservation. When you don't have the bees, I don't have the food. So that's already a sign that I'm not food secure, because the bees will do everything. Now, when you come back to now youth in technology, which technology are youths to venture into, which can also help with food security, creating job opportunities, and ensuring our environment is up to the beat? So you find that youth in technology and innovation, hydroponics is one, but there is still more that youths can do in terms of innovation in hydroponics. You don't necessarily have to go the extra mile. I always take it in that when you are in an uncomfortable position, For instance, like now we are uncomfortable with the source of food coming from our farmers because we are not sure if it can sustain the country. That's now the time when innovation comes in. Innovation comes in discomfort. Innovation won't come in when you are comfortable. So my key agendas actually with my profession has been value addition. Now the agriculture is there, value addition, and propelling us to food security. Now, if you look at value addition, it will promote backward growth and forward linkages. And this process creates much needed productive jobs, especially for the youth, because Mr. Kore just said that 75% of the population are youths, and they are graduating each year, each day. But where and how are they going to fit into the society? Because society currently, if you don't have something unique, which I believe youths have unique stuff with them, they are very innovative, you find it a little bit frustrating for them. And I'll encourage you that agriculture in terms of innovation, value addition, offers you that chance to bring that unique aspect. As an engineer, as a marketing specialist, as a banker, they all go round into the same place. They come back to agriculture. So I'll going to do some slight information sharing with the industries in four folds. So I'll start with for instance, macadamia industry. I don't know if you guys have an idea about macadamia trees or seedlings. I think this is also very new to youth, especially who are just coming from school, because macadamia is just a hardwood tree. But remember, hardwood trees, all that are nuts. The shells offer one of the most unique ways of ensuring our ecological conservation is up to beat with sustainability for food security. Because I want you to go and do this practically. If you are in an area you can access the macadamia nut before the shell is removed, I want you to remove that shell, dry it, have even a kilo, put it in your jiko, and kindly be free to contact me through all my networks, LinkedIn, even my email and number I'll give. Then just tell me briefly what is really happening when you put that shell into the jiko. This shell doesn't emit a lot of, it helps in lowering carbon emissions. It doesn't emit a lot of smoke, that is one. But remember, whereby you are going to use two containers of charcoal, that means you are going to cut a tree and probably make charcoal. Here, one bucket or half of a bucket of the macadamia shells, dry one, will work for you in a situation whereby you need 2 buckets of charcoal. Now that's a plus in environmental conservation. And again, that's a plus when it comes to the side of value addition. It's considered a waste, but it's not actually a waste. It's a renewable energy waste. That is now the macadamia. Then again, macadamia industry on its own, I'll give you an example of Ethiopia, having handled quite a number of seedlings to Ethiopia with a different organization, is that they are really buying macadamia seedlings from Kenya and taking to Ethiopia. But do you know when they are doing a reforestation program using macadamia trees? How are they doing it? You know, when you plant macadamia, in the next 3 years, you are harvesting the nut and you have the shells. You are no longer going to cut your trees. You won't cut it for charcoal. It's already a charcoal on its own. So this sector already offers youths, when you come into groups, the way my previous panelist was saying, fragmentation. Youths need to bring in their brains together into a table. You have your even propagation startup, link up with these organizations that are dealing with macadamia trees and even dealing with environmental conservation. Now, the next one, and the most interesting, but that one we can visit even on a practical sense, is bananas. Now, bananas, one thing everybody knows about banana is the fruit. You just take the fruit. Once you're done with the fruit, all is done. And banana is only for ripe, and people always just take banana is either ripe or cooked. But did you know that the banana itself, currently I'm a member of the Sabasaba cooperative. Banana itself, currently we are We are making banana crepes, which we are about to make it marketable and enter into the supermarkets. Now, the key challenge here is we are lacking youths to bring in that mojo, that passion and energy to venture into this and add even more. For instance, in Uganda are developing a major industry whereby they'll be creating even banana wine, and already they've done sample banana wines, brought it into the markets. They have also gone to a step whereby the banana peels are used as a renewable energy source again. Now that's a plus to our environment. The banana peels are used, when you are producing biogas is basically anything that can decompose and decompose in absence of oxygen. So when you produce biogas from the banana waste, I know in Kisii County, for instance, I hope there's someone from Kisii County here, you will find that a lot of banana shells, banana waste is in the market. Nobody has ever thought of taking that waste, bringing in the situation whereby let's create biogas for the communities. Then this biogas again will also help us in ensuring our environment is clean, environment is healthy, even our food production system is healthy. Now, the banana waste also can be dried to create organic fertilizers, which you use again in your farming for vegetables and all other substances. Now, taking ripe banana. Ripe bananas, for now, you create banana juice, commercially can enter the market. I've never seen that in our Kenyan supermarkets. But when you cross over to the East African side, for instance, Tanzania and Uganda, they are gearing it up to make it commercially available in the market. So this sector still have like a whole house of space for youth to showcase their innovations. And let me tell you, when you bring in something new in such sectors, you won't hesitate to get to the highest level. Then again, when you look at, for instance, on macadamia. Macadamia, for one thing, in Western, macadamia is not really that prominent, but in Central, it has done quite a lot. And the way the apiculture expert was saying with bees, without bees in our environment, our macadamia trees definitely, they do not do proper flowering, which will generate the fruit, which we need, that is the nuts. So you see, my sector is value addition. It's linking up with the guy who was dealing with apiculture, and again, attaching with the first sister of ours who was doing also, that is called hydroponics. So what I'll advise the youths, and I'll really be proud when I see youths coming in with ideas on what can we do with this product after we've harvested. We can currently make even tomato as a whole. We can make tomato paste, like Nigeria are doing it. Nigeria are even doing dry tomatoes for the export market, because basically value addition, you are changing the product, you are adding value to the product for more market access. You are even working on its post-harvest life, so that if it's traveling from Western to Nairobi, it gets there is no worry. And there's a situation whereby bananas were even peeled, packed, and refrigerated. So people can just get to the groceries, the supermarkets, you go for a peeled banana for cooking variety, and what do? You get back to the... So we are trying to create a situation whereby the farmer doesn't just produce for the market. After the market, these are all industries. And these industries can only be made to work when youth come in. I know youth in this platform, they have loads and loads of ideas. The only challenge with the youth is that maybe they are lacking encouragement and inspirational stories. Because if I give you a short information on my side, I am a founder of Eco9 propagation and nurseries. Now, Eco9, with the farmers I've dealt with in Western and Central, we are propagating for them the fruit trees like macadamia, avocados. We are propagating hybrid pawpaws. Now, once we propagate, we offer the consultancy services by visiting and ensuring they are doing it right. So when I visit, I'll need an expert in apiculture to develop the apiaries. When I visit, I'll need an expert in renewable energy sources who can think of how can we develop for this farmer a biogas, so that, because we are actually working on carbon sequestration, whereby we are looking for ways of limiting carbon emissions in the environment. So youth, I'll advise, and I'll really be proud to tell you that majority of this population are youths, and youths are the ones who can make this happen. All farmers I've visited are 75 years old and above, the ones who are coming to me and the ones who are calling me to offer consultancies. So youth, there is a gap, and the gap, we are the youth, we are going to fill it. Thank you for the session.
Wow, thank you so much, Marshall. One question that I want to ask you is what you say that we lack youths to bring more job. Are you saying that you already have jobs for us after this so that we can send our CVs, or how do we proceed to take up those opportunities?
Bringing jobs in terms of ideas. They bring the innovation. The innovation is funded by basically different organizations. Like there are some who actually want youth startups. And the key question they will ask you is, what is the impact of your startup to the environment, to the community? You see the way the link is going around, to the environment, to the community, then to the food supply chain. So basically, we are not getting youth coming in to create the job. We are getting youth coming in asking for a job. You get it? Yeah.
Thank you very much. And so one of the things I think I've also learned something about macadamia, which I didn't really know. I just actually this year was my first time to touch a macadamia seed. But one of the things about value addition, there is always the limitation, and I'm seeing most of the questions in the chat is around financing. And one of the challenges that most people face is the cost or the technicality that comes with acquiring machines to do this work. So how can we go around that?
Okay, that's good. Now, for instance, you brought in a very, very good question, and it was a challenge on our side also is, now you have the macadamia, you want to shell it. We don't have the machines. But what I just said is, I know somewhere in this platform, there is a youth. Already he has grasped an idea of how can I shell this macadamia at the farm level so that I have the shells for my energy renewable sources. Number two, these industries in the macadamia, they do have investors who come in to pump funds to ask the role of the industries in youth empowerment projects. But you find most macadamia industry, we don't have that youth empowerment projects, because the investors are asking carbon sequestration, how do you achieve it? Then we give the answer, we achieve it through, we will supply these seedlings to primary schools, secondary schools, blah, blah, and on, and even tertiary institutions. But if a youth comes in and says, I have an idea of how can we make a machine, or that's now engineering, the youth in the engineering sector, now that's where I'm touching you most. When you're studying your engineering course, you're not studying for the exam to pass and graduate. You're studying, come out to solve a solution. Okori has given me already a challenge. Now, an engineer on this platform, studying or already graduated, should come out, and I know will come out with that mind that there is a need for a machine like, let me give you an example kindly. You see bricks in our community, in my rural home, women are making bricks. But did you know the brick making machine was improvised in Kikuyu in central Kenya by a student studying engineering from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture? The machine came in. Now they can make bricks. They don't have to do it the local way, the way they were doing it. No, and they can make more in numbers a day with less energy involved. So I put it again on youths with various courses you are taking. There is a reason you are taking a course. You are going to solve something out here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marshall, for that elaborate and passionate conversation there and sharing with us your experience about value addition, which I know it's a topic that runs in your bloodstream. And the reason why we are doing this is basically to also bring this discussion home so that you start thinking about your immediate environment. And most of the time when we talk about innovation, normally there is a challenge that comes on board and we start thinking for you to innovate, you must have technology. Innovation basically means improving something. And that's the simplest way to define innovation. And if you do that, you're able to unlock some opportunities. And I like these examples that you've given because they are really putting us very close to our homes and what maybe countries in the Asia normally call cottage industry, where you able to make some production around that. And that is quite very important. So I also maybe would like to just add on to what you've said, because in the event that our engineers take time to develop some of these technologies that you've really pushed us to really think about, there's an organization that is called KIRDI, the Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute. I know there is one campus in Nairobi, South Sea, and there's another one in Kisumu. I don't know if they're in other counties, but I know those two. And this organization has one of the best equipments that I've ever known, but they're also underutilized. And if you have a product that you want to manufacture, you can go there and they will be able to incubate you, and they will help you to get things like KEB certification, do the quality for your products. Then once you start selling, there is a certain fee that you can pay from that, but they will bring your product up to the market level. So that is also something, especially those who are asking, so someone asking about optimization of banana. And I know this is quite a wide question, but maybe you could speak to Marshall separately around this. But I'm very grateful for you to really speak about that aspect that you're so passionate about. And also linking this to environment, because this is now becoming something that every business, big or small, must think about. So just picking up from that point where Marshall spoke about it, and this has been a cross-cutting themes. For us to be able to get these solutions or get these problems that we can provide solutions to, maybe you're here, you're really wondering, how can I be able to go about this? And it's very, very much important for us now to really put our mind frame into the global way of things. As technology is changing, there are also some things in our immediate environment which are external factors which are influencing what we do, but also offer opportunities. So in here, I just put a summary. The first one, I think we've really talked about it. And this is about the Agenda 2030, which is linked about sustainable development goals. Currently, the world is thinking in terms of these goals. And if you're able to come up with a solution, or you're able to put your production activities or your farm activities in line to solving some of these SDGs, you will be able to have a solution that you can be able to leverage to grow and to be able to create a market and create jobs from that. Because right now, the thinking is around those SDGs. When you go to the private sector, there's a lot of push among the private sectors. And you've seen companies like the most recent one that I know is ABSA, which are really now thinking about sustainability. They're thinking on how they will plant trees. They're thinking about how they will replenish the environment. So in as much as they're looking for profit, they're also looking for how to link their business to the planet. And more importantly, they're using people. So this is also another opportunity that you can really optimize your operations around and look at how can you make linkages with these private sector companies to be able to do that. The other one which has also been mentioned here is the county government. There's a lot of reluctance amongst youths in terms of just doing your business where you are maybe brought up, where you've lived, but some of the opportunities might be lying in those other counties where you have not gone there, or you don't want to go, or you don't like, or you feel it's not fun. So I'm just challenging you that you now have to think broadly and look at that. There's also the development of the Africa Free Continental Free Trade Area, where the Africa is being envisioned to become a one market. And this is due to the elimination of barriers of trade for country to country. And what this does is that it is opening up a market that you can be able to do business cross country and also export. And you've had Marshall talking about other countries, meaning that maybe he's already even in exporting seedlings. I think that's so unique. But that is basically where we need to operate with. And when you look at where I was telling you about the ecosystem or the agri-tech solutions that are there, this is some place where they will be able to really operate, where you have optimized technology in your production activities, in your agribusiness activities. So this gives you leverage to be able to do business and even incorporate multiple payment systems into your business, because you still cannot limit yourself to the way of paying in cash. You cannot limit yourself to only receiving money in Kenya shillings. What if someone wants to pay you in Nigeria Naira? What do you do? So that's why technology comes on board. And as Lim was introducing the session today, yeah, she really challenged us to think about technology across the value chain, from the production, from the transportation, from the storage, from the market, up to the point where food is on the table. And in all those areas, there are opportunities. You can decide that I don't want to plant, mine will just be to transport agricultural produce. And I will do it this way uniquely. I will adopt these technologies and all that. So that is one area that I would also like to challenge you about. The last sign, I think, is a scary one because of what it has done to the world. But as also Lim had has said earlier, that this has also created an opportunity because it has disrupted almost every sector. And as this has happened, people are now want to get things at their comfort. Everyone wants to get food at their comfort. People do not want to go to market to get vegetables. People do not want to do things the way they used to do. So even in agriculture, COVID has changed many things. So what are those, what are those things that we can be able to adopt to make our agriculture more productive? What are those technologies that we can be able to leverage to be able to get advantage so that we reduce our operating cost and be able to get optimal returns from our produce? And these 5 factors, I felt they are very important because they also challenge us to now really rethink what we do and why we do it and how we do it and with who. But importantly, all this can also not work if it is not really aligned to the policy. And just last month, the government of Kenya has released a very important document, which I will encourage you to. I'll share it at the end of the session on the link. But there's something called the Agricultural Sector Transformation and Growth Strategy. And this is where the Ministry of Agriculture, you can get it at kilimo.go.ke, I think that is it. And you can download this document. It was first classified, but I think recently they opened it up to the public. And it's only talking about digitization, data and innovation. And that is under the flagship statute of number 8, because within that agricultural sector transformation growth strategy, there are very many elements. There is issues of capacity building, there's issues of access to finance and all that. And the flagship number 8, where really centers on our conversation today, really focuses on issues of data and innovation. I will really encouraging you, if you want to do agriculture, or you are already doing it and you really want to make these things we are discussing here today a reality in what you do, I will encourage you to read this document. Why? It is very important to always understand the thinking of government, because if you understand where the government is thinking, those who are asking for monies, and you will also be able to align yourself, because donors will also be thinking along those lines. So most of the things I've shared today here, and even from the definitions and all that, they have also been mentioned there, but from an agricultural perspective. So we are on the right side of history. And if you're able to implement this very fast, because this will take time before it rolls out, and next year we have elections, you will position your enterprise very, very strongly. And to touch on this issue of policy, I'll also be inviting one of us who is with us here, who is someone who is very passionate about the participation of youths in policy making, but he's also a farmer and also an innovator. But it will be very interesting because he will be telling us about dairy farming, because one of the things that I wanted to do today as I facilitate this function was to give you a practical experience across different types of farming, so that you cannot really have a closed mind, but to see the limitless opportunity. So I'll be inviting Elisha. Elisha is someone who is an innovator, and he has developed an app that does soil testing and also dealt a lot with associations. So he'll also be telling us how that works, but more importantly, also rallying us in terms of taking up our voice to be heard on the table of policy making. Welcome, Elisha. Elisha seems to be having a technical challenge. So immediately I hear him, I'll be able to bring him back. He says he can hear us, but he cannot. We cannot hear him. So as we wait him to come back, maybe I could just ask Marshall about to answer this question that has been raised by it's been raised by Daniel Lind on the issue of our imports. Like, we import a lot of food. I've seen you tried answering out on the chat, but just for the benefit of everyone, maybe you could just really address the issue here.
Okay, thank you, Dennis.
Yeah.
Okay, Daniel, I'm responding to your question. You're talking about Kenya importing a lot of these products, which is true. And that's why you see, for instance, I'll give with an example. In Muranga Cooperative, called the Sabasaba Cooperative Society, as a member, we are buying directly from the farmers. So the farmer doesn't have to worry about the market. He brings the produce, it's bought per kilo, and he gets paid directly to his or her own account once he or she is registered. But now, do you know where the key challenge is coming? For instance, in Popo, we are working on congregating farmers so that we can have a situation whereby we have enough of this product that we can even sell it to various manufacturing companies or for the value addition purposes. But do you know the raw material already is a headache? It's not there. And if I give you an acreage of what already is done in Western, it cannot even reach 10 acres of viable Popo production. And remember, the industry, Popo itself, just like bananas, has even more to offer, that if you take a keen interest on innovation, you won't believe what is just inside there. So far in Nyanza, there's only one nursery that can give you hybrid certified Popo seedlings, and that is the Eco9 Plant Propagation and Nurseries Limited. Only one. Now tell me, Eco9 is based in, for instance, Kisii, and you move from Kisii to Bungoma to Kakamega, even if a farmer has a lot of what we call a passion to get into pawpaw itself, they get discouraged. Is like, no, basically, when we come to the point of reaching out the product of the farmers, congregate the farmers. When you go to Baringo County, I've happened to visit it. One of our panelists talked about apiculture. They congregated farmers, so farmers bring their honey into one organization owned by the farmers themselves. No cartel, no broker, it's the farmer himself or herself. So that's why I want the youth. You are a youth yourself, you are a farmer. I'm sorry to, if you're a lawyer and I'm bringing you into farming. You're a youth yourself, you are a farmer. 10, 20 youths having a startup on the agricultural sector, it will be definitely be funded. There are NGOs doing that. And remember, one thing they'll ask it, how much can you bring in this duration? Currently, I can't really go out and say I have enough purpose. And the quantity I can handle is a week is less than a ton, less than even half a ton, and goes even down less than 200 kilos in a week, or even less more, because based on particular areas, they planted area, but planted, they have the wrong variety for in the right soil. The variety is not fitting in, basically, the area they planted. So that's why I'm telling you is that market to me is not a challenge. Congregation of farmers into cooperatives, into their own groupings. We can have a grouping in Nyanza, like 4 groupings. Now, when these 4 groupings, each group can bring a ton. Tell me, each group bring a ton, that is 4 tons. What makes it not possible to be an industry itself to work? Thank you, Mr. Kore.
Thank you so much, Marshall, for responding to those questions. I'll give an opportunity for a live question. I don't know if Alicia is back.
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, awesome. I can hear you. Welcome, Alicia. Sorry for the technical challenges.
I'm greatly sorry. And for me, I just want to give a small story about myself. I remember in 2010 when we had this feed for Kenya, where we raised lots of money to try feeding Kenyans. And it was very surprising to me how those monies were not able to be accounted for. So it ended up some in other people's pockets, which was an unfortunate thing. And from then around in 2010, when I was just getting into campus, I was like, so what is it that I can do using innovation to actually help people to be food reliant? And that's when now my interest for agriculture began. Unfortunately, I used to sit behind computers and make very beautiful programs and code a lot, attend almost all hackathons that will be mentioned here in Kenya, in Nairobi, where you program for 48 hours and then and come up with very beautiful innovations. But unfortunately, those innovations were not speaking to farmers. And that's when I took up the challenge and decided to go to the farm by myself and see what the farm has to offer. And that's when now in 2013, when I fungered my virago and I headed to Narok. And that's where my farming journey began. So I did wheat farming for quite a while. And the interesting thing is that you can imagine being in campus, you don't have money. I had to be very quick and wise to see how can I raise funds, how can I get people to fund this dream and my learning curve. Imagine going to the bank and telling them, hey, fund me 2 million shillings just to go and see whether farming is something for me. So I really utilized gaps, or rather not gaps, but friendships, chamas for my siblings that are in, friends who believed in me, and just telling them, you know what, just buy a share of the farm. So a share then used to go for 30,000 for 1 acre of wheat. And I mean, the people believed in me, how I packaged myself using my IT, packaged it, a reporting system on a website, and I will do reporting every 2 weeks. And surprisingly, I ended up doing close to 150 acres of wheat out of people's money, not even a single, okay, I think I invested up like 5 acres, like 100K, but the rest of the money, which came to close up to 5 million Kenyan shillings, was people's money. I went through insurance, and it was a very, very, very interesting place and season for me. And I think I continued in that same spirit. Later left Narok, when now our politicians, unfortunately, started importing wheat and cereals. As you can see right now in Narok, sadly, there is no many people doing cereals farming, or rather wheat. And now you're seeing that is also trickling down to the maize farmers. So I went to Loitoktok down at Mount Kilimanjaro, just at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, did a lot of horticulture. So I moved from cereals to horticulture. And then now fast forward, 2018 is when now I got into livestock, dairy. And how I got into it was very interesting, because I mean, I used to have like just 4 animals. Actually, was it 2 animals? And I was living in the farm. I just recently relocated from the farm and just came to Nairobi for some commitments. But for the better part of my life, I've been staying in the farm. And over a period of 2018 up to last year is when I grew the farm to close to about 30 animals, dairy animals. And in that process, there were so many challenges that were in this industry that really were needed, or rather, they triggered me to address them or speak some truth into them. And now this involved things such as high cost of production for dairy farmers, things such as punitive regulations for farmers, dairy farmers to be precisely, and so many other things that affect dairy farmers being sold to very poor opportunities in the dairy farming, which now included how do we, and Dennis, interestingly, is that I also participated in a course in Kirby that deals with animal feeds production. So I was now able to be in a position where I could actually make my own feeds with the readily available materials, because for any livestock farmer, the one thing they will tell you the greatest cost is feeds. So I was able now just to play around to even bring my feeds to as low as 23 shillings, which the market rate right now is actually 33 shillings. So, and in that process, I saw there are so many opportunities that are in dairy that you might find. Some youths might say, hey, by the way, buying a cow is expensive, and maybe they might not be able to afford. The unfortunate thing is that you still find some people still struggle to break even. And again, you might find for youths, they want maybe high, their appetite for returns is so high. For dairy farming, there's several ways, and which meets different people's or investors and their appetites for either risks and also for returns. With these several challenges that are there, with notwithstanding, it's still an industry that has a lot of opportunities. It employs people in the value addition, because in those years that I was in dairy, I did a lot of value addition. Talk about yogurts, talk about mala. I used to do home delivery, and again during COVID was like the peak when I would get more customers to just deliver to them door to door. I used to even deliver all the way up to Nairobi, because people will travel all the way from Thika to come to Nairobi to pick my yogurt, and I had to transport all that yogurt all the way from Isinya, because that's where my farm is. And that's where I used to stay, and I would bring all that way here. And again, the interesting thing is that, which Dennis also spoke about, is data. And it's only now with data now, because I used to keep all my records very accurately, I was able to see how much money am I making, how much money am I losing, and how much, what's the market for me. And now, based on the appetite, it's now based, or rather will inform me, should I invest more, should I diversify? And now those are some of the decisions that actually helped me even now to get into value addition, because I saw a lot of increase of sales in that process. During that period of time, I also was able now to, because of now that engagement, of just being in dairy, I was plugged into an association, and I found myself being selected as the Secretary General. And I found myself being at the forefront where now other farmers are, hey, Elisha, things are thick here. There are these regulations that farmers have not been involved, and they appear to be punitive. And my journey of advocacy began in 2019 when I first held a press conference just addressing to the nation of these regulations. And it's from the uproar that now continued from there. The regulations are suspended and they had to be reviewed. And in the process, I also got an opportunity just to be brought to the table by the Ministry of Agriculture and told, okay, so you're talking about you're representing farmers, come to the table, you're representing youths, come to the table and tell us what is it that you need to be added into the regulations. So I was involved in a series of stakeholders engagements until this document was recently finalized and launched now as a law, that now regulations are applicable. But I think the way the document was back then in 2019 before it was passed and what it is like right now, I think there's so many things that farmers, dairy farmers to be precise, have to benefit or rather to gain from that. I think my apex of the dairy farming and in advocacy was hit the climax when I did a personal demonstration of pouring milk. Unfortunately, it had mixed reactions for different cultures. But for me, I think there was some truth I had to speak into that. And this was late last year when we had this issue of milk coming from abroad as milk powder going into Uganda, coming back to Kenya as branded milk from Uganda, which ideally was not, and which was really hurting a lot of farmers, dairy farmers. And I think from that demonstration, again, there was another big uproar in social media, because I was like, hey, you know what? I didn't have a lot of money to air my concerns, but social media, which is part of innovation, really helped me to have that voice. And I think that got to the attention of the president. He was able now to, unfortunately, I guess it was again a mix of politics. When we lost now also our former CS, we got the new CS, and I think one of the directives, if you remember, one of them was to increase the milk price, which was poorly being paid back then, around 19 shillings to up to 33 shillings. Of late, irrespective of the drought and all that, I've still had, and the rains, I've not had any farmer or most farmers complaining about the prices anymore. I mean, if anything, Brookside has gone all the way up to 42 shillings per liter in other places, and also depending on the volumes. So again, it had consequences also for me personally, because this is a personal story. There was a backlash for, again, going against the government. But again, all in all, I think it still showed me the importance of just having a voice in policy. And with that, there was the KCC that was set up or rather was commissioned to be set up, 500 million that was put for that. And another 500 million was put to pay for the KCC farmers, suppliers. So from those simple actions and involvements, active engagements, I think it ended up bringing up a lot, and especially now being a youth, where dairy is really known for old people. So in summary, I think that's just to encourage you people as youths, just if there's an opportunity to plug into policy, please do through your cooperatives. If there's an opportunity to get into livestock, right now currently I'm doing livestock, which is goats and sheep, because I found that to be a bit easy on me, especially now when I'm trying to multitask things. My day was zero grazing, which again was a bit, the numbers for me were not working out. So right now I'm in free range. And one simple thing as I close is, as a youth, if you're looking where do you start in livestock? Easier place could start either chicken or goats and sheep. You can start with 5 animals, they could give birth, they could grow. And I can tell you, you can raise an animal with a cost barely 1,500 or 2,000. and you can easily sell it at around 5,000. So, and there's really minimal attention that they need. So I think that's, I'll close it at that, Dennis. And again, once again, apologies for that communication connection issue, but I hope I've communicated something. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Elisha, and your apology accepted. Technology sometimes fails us. I really like how you've really progressed your story, right from practice to cooperatives and also to policy. There's a concern about the monopolization of the milk industry. I think we'll be coming to that. I just want to really thank you for really speaking your heart and how you transitioned from crops and came to do poultry. So I just, as we just still reflect on what Elisha shared with us, I just wanted to implore all of us about our first place where we started, about digital transformation. And this is from a model I adopted from someone called Darius Ferox, whom someone I really follow. But as technology is happening, it's a matter of adopt and die. Because if you either adopt or you die. And there are 5 things that you need to do. You either accept, you acquire new skills, track your environment, discontinue old methodologies, but continue iterating. Like progress is continuous, incremental change every day towards a success. And this is how you will be able to unlock value. And value are those shillings that are falling there. Because remember, the whole story is about how yourself you're able to be sustainable, how you're putting food on the table, how agriculture is able to give you options to do other things like access health, access education, and still do other things. So as we come to an end, I want to also just invite you to make up on the comment. You could write a pledge on what you're pledging as something that we can adopt as the International Youth Day for 2021, or you can make an ask, or you could express your hopes. And this is just something aspirational as a commitment in line with this theme that we had today. As we come to an end, I will be happy to see some chats on this, on the chat. And then maybe Invest in Africa could just publish them at a certain point. But I would like to thank you very much, everyone who has made this success, and particularly for the innovators and the farmers who really dedicated their time to really support this conversation today. I'm sure you've really learned something from them. And if there are no questions, because I'm seeing a very rich conversation on the chat, if there are no questions, I will gladly hand over to Lim and say thank you very much for this opportunity. Welcome back, Lim. The mic over to you.
Thank you very much, Dennis. And thank you to all the participants and all the young people in agriculture that have participated in the conversation today. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending the session. We truly appreciate your time, and we believe that you have benefited from the session. Just give me a minute. For more information, you can kindly contact Terry Kinywa. The email is provided there, and also the mobile number, or alternatively, you can talk to Felista Sang. Her email and mobile number is on the screen as well. So I'm just gonna let it be there for a while. Okay. Also, you can go on Twitter at IAA_Kenya. Feel free to just, as you tweet your takeouts, you can also include that. And remember the hashtags we were using today is #AgritechKE, #IYD2021, #Ubunifu College, and #IIA Masterclass series. So feel free to tag us. You can also check on our social media pages at Facebook. On Facebook, it's Invest in Africa Kenya. On LinkedIn is Invest in Africa, and also Invest in Africa Kenya. On YouTube, we have so many videos of our previous masterclasses. You can also go there and check as a resource center. That is Invest in Africa. Then there's a hyphen Kenya. Our website is www.investinafrica.com and www.biashara.now.com. From us to you, we say Asante Sana. And once again, happy International Youth Day.